I got to ask you though, when all this stuff starts happening, do you let your mind run wild? Do you let your imagination run wild? I've seen you post about John Cena. Do you think like, well, I've come this far. Why can't this happen?
Matt, that's not my imagination. I genuinely believe that will happen. I believe I will have an in-ring interaction with The Rock. I believe I will have a match with John Cena. If I'd have told you 4 months ago this is where I'd be right now, no one would have believed me, but I did. My team did. Me and my team were talking about this stuff months before it happened. You can say manifesting, but we put very strategic plans in place to be where we are right now. And, taking on John Cena is it's something that I'm preparing for right now. No one's told me this is going to happen, but again, no one told me that I was going to be debuting on NXT until the day before. You know what I mean? So I'm just preparing. I'm just preparing for it. I'm giving it everything I got. I'm in a
How?
situation. Carry on.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah.
No, I'm in a situation where we're having historic collaboration between TNA Wrestling and WWE. We're in a situation where TNA Wrestling have worked it out with WWE, where I can appear on TNA Wrestling as a contracted talent, I can appear on NXT, and I can train at the Performance Center full time and do indies and do signings. This is unprecedented. It's never been done before in the business. So thank you to TNA and WWE for figuring it out.
Yeah, and I want to thank TNA for making this happen here for us today. Certainly appreciate that. I'm glad to see that it's going in that direction because I looked it up and I thought this was the case. In the last month, you've appeared for TNA, NXT, in addition to appearing in promotions for Raw and SmackDown, Burning Heart, CPW, North Wrestling, Discovery Wrestling. While I see that and I go, what's the closest thing when like Gargano and Samoa Joe are first showing up in NXT and doing both things? But this is two major promotions, major televised promotions that have decades of experience and decades of television behind them, and you're doing this. And the fact that you said like you only knew the day before, does it make it that much more special? Does it kind of keep you in the moment more when you don't know as much?
My viewpoint is you can only do your best with the knowledge that you have at the time. So I just prepare, prepare, prepare. I have no ego when it comes to getting better. That's why I'm training at the Performance Center. So I feel like I'm never just going to rest on the skills that I've got. I'm always trying to build to something more. And I'm very grateful to TNA Wrestling for giving me the opportunity to do that. I think I'm collaborating really well with management, and I think we're putting ourselves in a position to do historic business for TNA. And my focus is there's so much going on. There's been no time to overthink it. I haven't had a single day off since April. So right now it's just you got to smash whatever's next. And what's next is TNA Wrestling in Tampa, Florida, at the Florida State Fairgrounds. That's what I'm focused on, and that's where I want to see the fans next.
And I saw that promoted that, and I see your head's on there, and it feels like I see your head everywhere right now. But if they put
Yeah.
your head on something, people are going to show up. So Tampa this weekend for the next set of Impact tapings. Make sure you're there in Tampa, Florida. You're staying pretty active in Florida, including last night. Now Gallus stops the concert before we can get an encore. Next week, you get your chance at Joe Coughlin NXT. I saw what you said after the show last night. But for those who don't know, this has been going on for a decade between you and Coffee. Now that it's happening in NXT, how is this different?
I think that, look, we have to be realistic and we have to be honest and we have to say we're dealing with top talents here. If you look at the representation that Scotland has in major promotions, it's unbelievable. Scotland has a population that is a sixth of that of Texas. So it's like, you're talking about a very small country which has, you've got Drew, you've got Mark Coffey, you've got Joe Coffey, you've got Wolfgang, Alba Fire, Isla Dawn, Piper Niven, myself. I think I may have mentioned,
Nikki.
someone
Yeah.
you may know called Drew McIntyre. I can't remember if I mentioned at the start. There's Nikki Cross as well. And again, there's Killian Dane, who isn't Scottish himself, but he lived in Scotland. He was a part of the Scottish scene. So we had something pretty special going on.
I've noticed that the Australian talent has that same. There's a bond there where they root for each other, and I've seen. Piper was talking to Drew when they were over
let
there.
me just stop you right there. Let me just stop you right there. Right? Hey, Australia is an awesome country for professional wrestling. I went out there and we wrestled in Wagga for TNA wrestling. It was unbelievable. But you know what? I think if you stack up Team Scotland versus Team Australia, I'm feeling pretty good. I'm feeling pretty good. That said, I will say Steph Delander is one of my favorite wrestlers in the business. So who knows?
Listen. There's a whole TNA's done the World Cup in the past with all the crossover and stuff going on. Why not? I think you kind of just start
Yeah,
some there with Australia, and I
who
think they'd be
knows?
willing to respond. They have a few
Well,
people doing quite well right now.
Australia kicked my ass in the Commonwealth Games, so I'm in no position to talk. So there you go.
As we talked though about Joe, now that you get to do it here in NXT and with this partnership with WWE and TNA. And I went back and looked. And by the way, I had a lot of red lines under your videos from ICW because I have been watching for quite some time. I have believed for quite some time.
Yeah.
You and Grado, and when Drew went back, you guys all turned me on to ICW, and look what that turned into. But when you look back on everything you've done with Joe, now that you bring it to NXT, what's going to be the same? What has felt the same about it, and what's felt completely different?
I think you can. hmm, I don't know. There were a couple of Scottish references in the promo from Joe yesterday and the song that I did. So anyone who's been following both their careers for the last 10, 11 years will have, there's a few nods in there, which I think the fans would enjoy. I think that, Gallus are in the position that they're in for a reason. I think they have a lot of experience, especially in TV wrestling. I will say though, I think it's got to be a little bit of a shock for them to see me come in as a completely different wrestler. Because don't get me wrong, like we had a hot act going in Scotland, but I'm one of the most talked about guys in professional wrestling right now.
Yep.
So when I first got into the business, Gallus were already not as a unit, but they were already established before I even set foot in the pro wrestling training school. But now, sorry guys, I'm the one they're talking about. So that's probably got to be a little jarring for them. But you know what the truth is.
We'll see what happens with them next week on Great American Bash Night 2, of course. NXT on Tuesday nights on USA Network. I'd like to ask you about Shawn Michaels. He has posted about you. He's clearly a very big fan. What piece of advice, or maybe just something said in general conversation, what's been the best thing that Shawn has said to you so far?
I had a long conversation with Shawn Michaels last night. The mentorship from Shawn Michaels has been unbelievable, and this is why this collaboration between TNA Wrestling and NXT is so good, because everybody wins. I win because I get this amazing coaching and mentorship from Shawn Michaels and Matt Bloom and Teddy Taylor and Johnny Russo, and I've been working closely with Jim Smallman as well in my creative. Like, it's been an awesome opportunity for me. It's great for the wrestlers because we get this exposed to this new audience. The NXT wrestlers get to work with new experienced talent that they haven't been in the ring with before. The everybody wins from a ratings perspective. NXT's ratings get a boost. If you look at the videos that I'm in, if you look on WWE's YouTube channel, I'm doing great numbers for them. I feel like, honestly, I feel like I'm doing great business for both companies. If you look at TNA ticket sales, we sold out in Philadelphia, Chicago, and Montreal back to back to back. It's historic business for both companies. But for me personally, from like a training perspective, um, Sean's given me a huge opportunity, and Sean said, "Hey, this door is open. If you want to train at the performance center, we're going to open that door." And I was like, "Let's do it." And I says, "Give me a week to sort out my real life stuff back home in Scotland, and let's go." And then I said yes. We figured it out. So right now I'm training at the performance center and I'm here in Orlando, and I'm getting this amazing opportunity to learn from, let's be honest, the greatest in-ring performer of all time. And the fact that Sean takes the time he sees something in me that he wants to help me build and grow, it just makes me want to do an even better job for TNA Wrestling and WWE. It makes me want to do great business for both companies.
Hey, this is Matt Kemp. Thanks for checking out one of our recent clips from the Wrestling Mat. Why is someone so close to The Rock kind of throwing Cody under the bus?
Yeah, a lot of people won't engage with Jim Cornette. I did, just because I have a mark for Jim Cornette. And
Please subscribe right now. Hit the like and turn on notifications so you don't miss a thing. And I think you should listen to your TV partners. Let me tell you about WWE and a little insight. More subscribers means more content. And make sure you follow us on social media at WrestlingMat23 on both Twitter and Instagram.